one thing I don't think you get just from having the digital iTunes, you know. I mean, you can put up a link, but that's like being in good company with these guys and their other artists. It's like, for us, it's a win-win, you know. Scarlet and then you won. It's a great thing.
So there's a couple questions I want to ask you about some of the tracks on the album. Maybe you could talk about a couple of them, and like Psycho California. What exactly, in a way, is that song referring to, or what is it about, in a way?
I mean, for us, it's basically a direct reference to Hollywood, Los Angeles, the people. I mean, what the city does to you. But I mean, it's not just like our city here. It's all over the place. I mean, we all have those, you know, like all around the world. Everybody has those pockets of like their moments, their city of those people. You know, it's like one day you meet somebody, you see them a few months later, and they've just been chewed up, completely different person. You know, and that's kind of what it is, like the Psycho California. Like you want to leave, but you got to stay. You can't figure out why, but it's like it's got you. You know what I mean? So it's kind of trying to stay alive mentally as well as physically, and you know, and you do things that, you know, a normal person wouldn't normally do, but because you're under, it's like an energy of a city. It's crazy, man, you know. And I think that was the idea about that, and from that song, it was like we branched off and wrote other ones that were kind of related, you know, and I think that's why it became, you know, the title of the CD, because it made the most sense, you know. It's like, that's what all these guys have been through. And that is kind of like the common ground, you know, for the band.
One track on there, just out of curiosity, because there is a cover song on there, and that's the Wonderwall from Oasis. Now, that's a pretty interesting choice to cover. So how did that come about? Because the song sounds great. I love the song.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we owe it all to Oasis for writing that great song.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great song.
Thank you, Noel.
But you guys cover it well. So, I mean, how did that process come about? Was that something you brought to the table, saying, hey, let's do this? Or was this something the band put together?
Well, that was like in the beginning, you know, when we were just picking songs, you know. Like, I can't remember who specifically said, let's do this one. But, I mean, there was probably 20 to 25 tracks we were just playing for fun. But for some reason, I mean, it's a great song, don't get me wrong. But for some reason, that was one that we played. It's like, after you finish playing, you all kind of look at each other and like, oh man, yeah, you know. And I was surprised as well, because compared to the other songs, it's not as quote unquote heavy, but I mean, lyrically and the feel of it was heavy enough for us. You know what I mean? So and I think playing it live, it had a great response. You know, compared to other cover songs that we might have thrown into the set. So we were like, you know what? Let's just do this. Let's track it. We see what happens. You know, and yeah. It is an interesting pick, but, you know, we dig it live, and so does everybody else. And I think it's a good contrast, too, because you just get banged one track after the other in your face, then you get a song like that, and you're like, oh, what's this all about, you know?
Exactly. There's going to be a couple tracks we're going to be playing on later on the show after the interview, and one of the tracks we're going to be playing, which I also want to ask you about, is What You Do to Me. And what I want to ask you on this particular track, one of the things with music today is there's a lot of music out there, and some of it's not good and some of it's really good, but sometimes when I'm putting in a CD and I'm listening to an album, and it just seems like some bands are going by the numbers, putting out music, and I mean, the guitar could be good, everything could be technically great, but something's wrong with the vocals and the feel and the emotion behind the song. And there's some albums out there that I listen to, and I don't get that emotional feel to it, like there's any emotion behind it. It's like the band's just going through the motions, putting out a song. And when I listen to this album, specifically What You Do to Me, which is one of my favorite tracks on the album, I get that feel like there's a lot of emotion and energy behind that song. So I was wondering if you might be able to talk a little bit more about that particular track.
For sure. It's definitely an emotional song for all of us. And that's one of those songs where the lyrics just flowed out, you know, and it was an interesting story about that song. I know Alex and I were driving through Laurel Canyon, and it was like the evening that Janie Lane passed.
Okay.
And it was kind of like, wow, you know, there's a guy with a lot of talent that was really good friends with Alex. So we started thinking, like, man, you know, it's a lot of these guys that are great that just enter these dark spells, you know, and it's very, very hard for them to get out of. And there was a lot of people, there still is a lot of people around us that are in those spells, you know. And that's what it's about. Like, you have all these great people, talent that would never wish any harm on anybody, but they're just putting themselves through hell, you know, and can't climb out of it. And that was the idea. You know, a lot of people feel it's, you know, it could be a power ballad romantic song, you know, I mean, and it still can be, because that can be just as hard to get through as well. But for us, with that song, that's basically what it's about. It's like, it's that relationship with your substance, you know, and in his case it was alcohol. It's like you have Kurt Cobain with drugs. It's like all these other guys, like Amy Winehouse, a lot of very talented people that die so young. It's crazy, you know.
I mean, not to mention you have Phil Lynott, Thin Lizzy, the same thing. You have Bon Scott, AC/DC, Bonham on drums for Led Zeppelin. I mean, there's a lot of phenomenal musicians out there that have died way before their time, and it's exactly what you said. No fault of their own. They just got themselves involved in something that was too much for them to handle. And I mean, and just hearing that you mentioned Jamie Lane and what happened to him was really sad. Great singer and stuff, but to know that was part of the inspiration for some of this song actually resonates, I think. So I think you've probably done what you accomplished to do when you put this song together. So for that, I congratulate you.
Oh, thank you. And that's kind of just how our band is. You know, I mean, nothing's made up. We don't try to fluff anything. Like, what you see is what you get. It's real stories, real guys, you know. We're not trying to smoke and mirrors or hide behind a certain kind of image or do something because that might be what a label wants or what's trendy. I mean, what's trendy for us is doing what we want and playing music that inspires people, you know.
And I think you guys put together a great album here. So I have to ask you, I mean, because you're a musician, but I know growing up you were listening to stuff. So what bands were you listening to? What bands were your influence?
Oh, man.
That you, I mean, I guess in a way, we do something here on the show called the Hard Rockology Wall Pick, which is an essential hard rock album that you need for your collection. I guess I should ask you, if you had to pick some albums, which albums would have to be in your collection that you would recommend to everybody out there? So you got anything like that you might want to pass along?
There's so many. Like, I know one album that when I heard it, it kind of changed everything for me. Was Marilyn Manson's Hollywood. And I think, like, I heard of him, and I was like, you know, I heard some of the tunes, but my buddy's like, hey, you gotta check this out, and I listened to it on headphones, and it was like the production, the lyrics, the sounds, like everything. I walked away from that going, holy fuck, like, here's someone that's doing something completely different, and they don't give a fuck. And it was like, it moved me, you know? But then there's also classic albums like Appetite, where you're like, holy shit, these guys do the exact same thing in a different kind of genre, you know? It just kicked its ass. And then there's, I mean, I love singers, so there's Temple of the Dog.
Okay.
With Cornell and the guys, and it's like, it's real shit, man, you know? So, I mean, I'm kind of all over the place. Like, I love everything. I mean, growing up, all of my friends listen to rap, and it's like, yeah, okay, you know, but I respected it, 'cause it's like, well, these are guys talking about real shit too, you know? They got a message. They're throwing different beats in and stuff, you know? And it's like, it's a different platform, and it's a vehicle to get out their message, you know what I mean? And, man, there's songs out there, like, that hit me too, you know?
Yeah, I completely get. I mean, there's different genres of music where songs hit me and stuff, but I definitely hear what you're saying. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. So that's great as well. So, but I guess the next question I want to ask you is, let's talk about your show coming up on Saturday. So you want to tell everybody out there where exactly you're going to be playing?
Yeah, at that time? That's at the world famous Whiskey in Hollywood. I believe we hit the stage right after Manson, so you'll have to check. I mean, I would just say just get to the Whiskey at 11 to be safe, because you don't want to miss a second of our show. We put on a monster show. It's like a monster truck show. Coming right at you, brother.
I think they told Marilyn Manson he needs to be off by 11 because Hotel Diablo is going on at 11:25.
That's
so
right.
I think that'll give everybody plenty of time to get over there and catch the show.
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't think so?
It's going to be good, man. I mean, we do our thing on record, but live it's just a different beast. Like, man, there's a certain energy that just comes across when the four of us are same room, same time, everybody hitting it. And that's one thing, like, we always encourage people to come to the shows. Like, you might like the record, but when you come to us, you're going to fall in love with it. It's for you to kick your ass. That's the way around it.
So straight on power, just, you guys go
right
out
from
there?
the beginning, man. Right from the beginning, the first hit, it's like a bulldozer.
Right. It doesn't let up then, right?
We might let it up for a second because, you know, there's the ladies that are there, and, you know what I mean, we want them to bring their boyfriends back to the next show, and we want them to come back, so, you know, we throw a little something for them. but then we pick it right back up and start kicking your ass again. So.
Well, not only that, too, you got to give the ladies a chance to get their breath, too, so.
That's right.
So, all right, well, that's definitely, everybody out there, definitely you're going to want to catch that at the Whiskey A Go-Go at 11:25 this Saturday night. Now, we're going to go ahead and close out this interview, but I have to ask you the one question that we ask everybody we do on this show. Do you have a Spinal Tap moment that you want to share with the audience today?
Yes, I do. I was playing with Other's Appetite. Can't name the city, but I know that during the last song, my pants split and my crotch totally blew out, and I just kept rocking with my cock out, literally. It was classic. Yeah. So what are you going to do, right? It's rock and roll.
Yeah, I think there's already a band named Big Cock, so is that a problem there? Or?
Go for it.
So, I mean, so you stayed on stage for how long?
Well, as soon as I realized it, I went and got gaff tape and tried to tape it up. I mean, I think it happened in between the last song and the encore, and then when I came out, it was, what are you going to do, you know?
Oh, that's classic, man.
Yeah.
So, but Rick, I want to thank you for coming on the show.
You got it anytime.
Wish you guys the best of luck, and everybody out there, definitely catch these guys this Saturday at 11:25 at the Whiskey A Go-Go at the Sunset Strip Music Festival. And Rick, do you want to take us out with introducing our next song, which is What You Do to Me?
That's right. You're listening to What You Do to Me from Hotel Diablo. Let's see you Saturday, August 18th at the Whiskey. Ready to rock you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Rick. Take care.
You got it, brother.
It's been a long, long time here, long since the first time we met.